Test, sound control, sound control. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's been some time since my last talk. I think it was right after the Eid, and I haven't made any videos since then. And been busy thinking, doing stuff with my mushroom blocks, trying to improve the yield and etc. So it's some progress. I am trying to grow it on sawdust and wheat mixture, but I haven't been successful so far. So, because normally they just the pasteurization process or the sterilization process is a bit different, and I use hot water to sterilize the fuel pellets, and maybe that's not enough to break down the lignin or something. It just or the fuel pellet itself I have is has something different. But I have managed to make another block, with wheat and sawdust mixture, and I'm hoping that it will work, because it's a good combination. Sawdust is readily available here, and wheat is also available in this area, in this region, and both are cheap to get. So hopefully it works. Because wood chips you can get everywhere. Most of the places you can get, but yes, you can grow mushrooms on various substrates, and depending on the substrates, the quality of the mushrooms differ. It's like honey, or milk, or meat. The structure of the meat. In the meat you have oils and other compounds, and if the animal eats like pasture and good grass and all the flowers and etc. all the time, and oreganos and everything, you would find in a nice natural pasture or a grassland, then you will get better cheese, better milk, better meat. And same thing applies to honey, and it applies to mushroom as well. So yes, you can get milk, with just feeding animals, garbage. I am sorry, but some people prefer that way. You can feed bread, to your sheep, or other things. I mean, you can supplement, but just for animals, to be healthy, you have to supply them with all the nutrients. I mean, this is just basics. So I'm gonna continue actually talking on the food issue, and this is a global problem, and we have to solve it globally. That's why I am very interested in this mushroom business and mushroom growing, because people are still have no idea how to cure hunger. It's just you're opposing this, you're opposing that, but what is your solution? You have no solution. Then it's no good to oppose, this and that. It just, you have to come up with an idea, and either preserve the forest, so at least you can have the genes, for a better food option, because we keep destroying the nature, and then we don't even know what's there, and all the fungi and all the insect species and other things. It just gets destroyed uh, without even being identified. So to solve these problems, I mean, yes, globally, hunger and starvation will be a problem. Drought will be a problem, and it doesn't matter you are a Jewish or Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist. It doesn't matter. Everybody needs food. We can agree. We can agree on this topic. We can agree and work together on this topic because uh, what I believe, all the human populations across the globe should work and be on the same page on this issue. Food security. It's just because you know what? If starvation starts and diseases start, if you from malnutrition, what do you expect? You get sick. You get diseases out of it. You get pandemics. And we know the humans are not good at controlling and managing pandemics. We have seen it. Humans are worse. Humans have no idea how to control pandemics. We have seen it and we have learned it pretty good. And because half of them oppose, vaccines, and the other half doesn't know how to care, for the sick, what do you do? What are you gonna do? Honestly, I mean, half of them oppose medicines and vaccines, and the other half doesn't have any idea how to cure the sick. And apply this and apply that, and then this cures the virus. And no, it doesn't cure, and this cures the virus. Okay, let's test it, and let's test this, and let's. And because of the conditions, people were dying, and many drug companies got their approvals way earlier than normal, maybe, because normally developing drugs and medicines takes time. You have to do many testing. I am sorry, but that they do test it first on animals, and then they move on to clinical studies, and it takes time, and research takes time. So during these peaceful times, you know, I'm not gonna grade it like how peaceful. We are at this stage and at this moment, but I am considering as peaceful during these times. I mean, we have to work on food security. That'll establish, I think peace. So prosperity. I mean, it's just oxygen, water, clean air, clean water, clean food without toxins. So and then with that, I will give you a news, which is very interesting to me. I've been, reading and researching about Neanderthals. That just the human the kind that existed before sapiens, Homo sapiens. They lived mostly in Anatolia and Mesopotamia, today's Iraq, Iran, and then sometime between 50,000 years, 50,000 years ago, the two met, and then the rest we don't know pretty much. Because I will tell you this. I think in 2018 and 2019, this is right before the pandemic, because the goddamn pandemic stopped all the research and everything. It was a disaster. I mean, I still they like did the shutdown and ruined the lives of everybody. But it taught certain things to humankind. I believe. It just, I think it taught us, to uh, it taught us to do something by ourselves at home, not to be institutionalized, because we were institutionalized before the pandemic. Just people were like living in their offices and living in their schools and etc. But people learned a different lifestyle with the pandemic, because sometimes you have to. And then so I'm gonna go back to the Shanidar cave, which was the home to many Neanderthals. This Shanidar cave, found in today's Mesopotamia, Iraq, Iran region. They stopped working in the cave because during the first there is war in the area. It's Iraq. It's been invaded numerous times throughout the history. And I guess first invaders were Homo sapienses. But that's a different story. Okay, so all these years, with the evolution and everything, people had these ideas and regarding human races and everything. But there was this event, flower burial. You know, we didn't know that Neanderthals cared for their dead. Did they bury, or it was just a natural event, that looked like a burial. And then I think scientists found a skeleton which was buried with care and love. It was a skeleton of a woman, of a Neanderthal woman. And then what they did, they reconstructed the face. Just like they do with the Farias and Ramesses and everything, with all the mummies, they can do reconstruction. It's part of the forensics. Not a rocket science. They collected all the bone fragments of the skull and everything, and then and turns out to be a beautiful woman that just today we see every day, in our everyday lives. All these times they were just teaching us, just Neanderthals are like this and like that, and then because I think it's okay not to accept them for some people. It's out of books. It's out of books. People don't want to, accept them as a reality. Because Adam, remember, if it doesn't, if it is not mentioned in the Bible or in the other, texts, holy texts, what do you expect? But in the Gilgamesh, epic, the epic of Gilgamesh, the legend of Gilgamesh. I remember the Enkidu, the maybe that's my idea. Yeah, that's just maybe that was referring to the other forms of humans and etc. But the flower burial is real. I am amazed because there was a debate, and even the movie, the clan of the cave bear, the clan of the cave bear. There's a movie, and in that movie, the Neanderthals, adopt a baby girl, that is lost in the forest, or during an hunting expedition, etc. Remember I told you these two human races met around like 50,000 years ago. So the idea, the field, it's a movie. I mean, if you can watch it, but some say it's a feminist idea and etc. But it's an idea, and maybe it is true. Though regarding skills, though, I'm not gonna say Neanderthals are stupid. Never. I'm not saying that. On the opposite, they were the first to get out of Africa, and then they lived in Anatolia and southern Europe and Iraq and Iran region, and on those mountains are very challenging to live. I mean, they did the hard work, to get us some good genes, they got some good genes in their families, and then they transferred some of those to us, to Homo sapienses, in the region. So you know the Middle Easterns, you know, some today even some people say, you know, the aliens came and, you know, married humans, and the gods came and married humans and made a different race and everything. Like, why simply you know, what about Neanderthals? Why are you not accepting them? You know, even I think they did a genetic study on Sumerians, on the today's Sumerians, the living in the swamps in the area, the Sumerian area. You know, the water buffaloes. They tend to water buffaloes, and, you know, they were farming back in the day. I think some of them maybe came from the water buffalo. I think came from Indus Valley, the domestication, the process, you know, the domestication of animals. It was interesting, you know, you know, today's some of the tribes living in the Sumerian region, they were, you know, I think the term is autochthonous or something like that. Like they didn't match any of the genetics in the area. They were original to the land, like they were natives. Very interesting. Normally, like Arabs are J1, and you know, Anatolians are J2, and then the Georgians are G, and etc. And then you know, the R1, R1A, R1B. It goes all the way to Europe, and, you know, Eastern Europe, and Central Asia, etc. The dispersal of the humankind, and, you know, and across the Tibets, you know, and then one route, you know, followed the lowlands of the Tibet into Polynesia, into Australia, and into the Pacific Ocean. And another route, you know, just went up to Zaros, and then continued north, and then through the, you know, Siberia, and then they crossed the Americas. And then look up this woman. You know, I think I saw it in some magazine, the scientific magazine. You know, very credentialed. So, but very interesting. You know, it just it is amazing, and since those times, you know, because agriculture started in Middle East, you know, with the in you know, we know Göbekli Tepe, you know, you're talking about 10,000 years, 12,000 years, and with Neanderthals we're talking about 60, 70,000 years, and these people, you know, they became, you know, a family. Uh, uh, Maybe trying to gather food uh, in the same cave, trying to make a living, you know, in those conditions. And then and those populations, you know, which were not much, you know, it wasn't even a million in those times. You know, the world population was very small until, you know, 1800s and 1900s. Then with the industrialization and the Green Revolution and the Medical Revolution, you know, the human population skyrocketed. You know, they started doubling in very short amount of times. But in those times, in early times, it wasn't the case. You know, there was plenty of, you know, there were plenty of food options. Maybe, you know, there were animals, wild animals, but there were, you know, the dangerous animals too. You know, bears, and, you know, lions, and tigers, and, you know, all the other animals. And who do you think fought with them? Neanderthals. They were smart, and they tried to, you know, live despite all those, you know, conditions, and in their caves, you know, and maybe it was the safest place. You know, I mean, the bears are like wild animals. I mean, like, and consider the populations of, they consider the wild population of bears in those days, and lions and tigers, and the Anatolia was full of forests. In those days, we know from the pollen records and everything else, Anatolia was full of trees. It wasn't not a, it was not like a barren grassland. Now today, yes, it's a, the Anatolian plateau is like a grassland, but grassland doesn't mean it is void of trees. We had trees in Anatolian plateau, so. So there were lions and hyenas and everything else, and and Turkish fauna is much of like African fauna. You can find samples of African fauna and such in Iranian fauna and Asian fauna. So it's like a crossroad. Like animals crossing the Zaros, and the animals crossing the Iran, and crossing the Levant, and Syria and Lebanon, for arriving from Africa, and it still continues today with the birds and everything else, and once in a while they spot still hyenas in Turkey, like that I think there is spotted hyena in Africa, but and I think in Turkey they have ones with stripes, and which is concerning for some families, and even with wolves, or they can ruin a herd, they can ruin a herd. That's just the way it is. So it's so caring for animals was always problem. So going back to Neanderthals, I mean, they were living in caves, and foraging for their food, and then maybe they started thinking about agriculture. Maybe the seeds they collected started germinating, and then they said, okay, why not improve this and make this better. I mean, they're not stupid. I mean, and if you see a germinated wheat, what do you do? I mean, it just maybe they put it in a the ground or someplace. We have no idea how the process started, but it started in Mesopotamia. We know that for sure. I mean, to what degree Neanderthals did agriculture, or uh, we don't know, but at least we know they hunted and collected some food. And then later on, whatever happened till Göbekli Tepe time, because with the Göbekli Tepe, I mean, they had some idea of the agriculture. So I am from Turkey, and my homeland, my hometown is not far from where the Neanderthals lived and hunted, and so it is my right to talk about them, and I'm not offending anybody, but it's a reality. And so food security is one thing. It was the only thing all these times. With just people sacrificed animals to gods, and so that there is enough rain, and there is enough harvest, and etc. So it was a problem all along. The control of the seeds were in the hands of the governments most of the time. Seeds. I mean, you have to have seeds, and better seeds. Uh, because if the seeds are not good enough, then you cannot do agriculture. And then uh, uh, when I mention seeds, I would like to actually talk about better agricultural grains, like perennial grains. Now we do. What we do is we use barley, or oat or wheat. These are annual plants. I mean, we just sow them and then harvest them at the end of the year. I mean, they just grow very quick and just harvest, and then the whole thing starts next year. And then you have to sow the land and repeat all the process. But now I think they are successful generating the first generating the first perennial wheat, meaning it stays in the soil and grows deep roots, because the root system of the steppe plants are very advanced, and they can go up to the 30 feet, really. I mean, it's just because that's where they do to reach the aquifer, you know. They have a very strong root systems, and with perennial plants, and you see this, it is one of their characteristics, to have the deep and advanced root systems, so that they survive the winter, and then and then they fruit again next spring. So this is one way, actually, maybe to improve today's agriculture, because looks like we're running out of fuel, we are running out of water, we are running out of fertilizers, we are running out of maybe manpower, because nobody's nobody's doing agriculture right. It's just because the education system, for some reason, everybody's busy in the libraries, in the computers, and then, but guess what? You cannot do much about agriculture, in front of the computer. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to, start planting seeds, and you have to start experimenting wherever you are. It doesn't matter. Do permaculture. Just start a garden. I am telling everybody, just start a garden. This is May 2nd. You still have time. Get the seedlings or whatever, and establish a greenhouse, and then this way you can control pests and other things. Yes, agriculture is challenging. There is pests involved, but it takes time, even for plants to establish a good root system. For even trees, it takes 3 to 4 5 years for you to establish a good garden. I mean, with the mycorrhizal, fungal species, and everything else. Even like for a simple like a log to be infected with a like oyster spawn or something like that. I use the word infection, but you get it. Inoculate, man. That's better. That it takes even 1 year. In the forest. All the bugs and bees and other organisms. They spread. They carry all these mushroom spores, and with the wind and everything, it reaches to the trees and fallen branches and fallen logs, and it takes a year, or 2 3 years, and for fungal colonies to establish. It is not easy for a forest, to establish itself. That is the whole deal. I've been busy for the last couple months, to establish this fungal plant and insect triangle. Just like bee plant, it's the same thing. Same thing with mushrooms. We are omitting mushrooms from all the equations, but we should not. We should not. They are there in the soil. They are there on the trees. They are there on the wings of the insects, on the bodies of the insects. They are there. They are everywhere. The fungal spores and the mycelium. I mean, they live together as a symbiotic, sometimes as a parasitic, like insects. It's just that we have beneficial insects, and we have harmful insects, and even aquatic fungi. In aquatic systems, all the where do you think all the leaves go in the autumn. They just like they end up at the bottom of the lakes, and then all these aquatic insects, they have fungal strains living in their bodies, and then they, with the help of these fungal strains, the leaves turn into bugs, and then fish, and other organisms, consume these bugs, and it becomes biomass, and it becomes, part of the higher, food chains. So it is, so it is this triangle, in the forest, and then this is connected to rivers, it is connected to lakes. We have to understand better these relations, and study them, and this way we can solve this food crisis, and we can understand the soil better, and we can do gardening better, to establish a good garden, to establish a good bee colony. I mean, you have to feed the bees. I mean, it just and everybody should understand what protein is, please. I mean, like, that's just like, if you can consider me as a teacher, I I I I I you know I want you to learn about proteins. Learn what they are. What is a protein? What is it made out of? What are amino acids? There are how many types are there? What do they do? So when we talk about food, basically we're talking about the amino acids and carbs and the lipids. People pretty much know about lipids and fats. And then we know about sugar, and also with the starch and everything else, and then they don't contain nitrogen, but proteins are just a whole different thing. They make up the living system. The amino acids, they come together to make the proteins, and with the variety of proteins, we have this thing called life. I mean, I'm medically speaking. I'm not like spiritually speaking, like medically talking, medically speaking. So it is important that so the other terms are, I'm not interested in other, like meat, and like a lab meat and other things. I'm not interested in those things. It's just tell me about nutrition. Tell me about nutrients. It's just to be able to get these nutrients humanely, ethically. I mean, without torturing animals, is important. I'm not telling you to be vegetarian, but it's okay to make a couple days of the week vegetarian. You can try to be vegetarian at least, maybe 1 or 2 days of the week. And growing mushrooms is a great way of doing this. Adding mushrooms to the menu, and then making mushrooms cheaper. Like if eating a mushroom will cost you a fortune, I'm not in it. I'm telling, I am in this mushroom business, not to make it a gourmet, so that the rich can enjoy their pasta better, with the truffles, and with the $3,000 truffles. I'm not talking about that. No, I am talking about just basic, cheap oyster mushroom. I mean, as a protein source. Okay, I'm not just like basics, as a food source, so that children can benefit. The to get the, if you don't get the proper nutrients, forget about education, forget about all the other things, forget about national security and everything. You just the diseases will get you first before the enemy. What are you gonna do? So education and health is a priority. So we have to do our investments according to these facts. And then some people say, okay, there's too much human beings on the planet, and this and that, and just maybe this is an advantage, If you see humans as a pest, of course this will bug you. The idea, If you see humans as a pest, like many people do, I know some people feel this way, think this way. I don't, I say I am a retired teacher. I guess I get to say that. But I believe in education. I believe in I believe in humankind. And if you don't teach your young, if you don't educate, your children, if you don't educate your family, it just becomes an animal. I'm not gonna judge animals. There are I see many things on the streets, and dogs like attacking other dogs and things like that. If you live like an animal, it's just if you want to be an animal, if you choose to be an animal, what can I say? It is your choice. But humans have, compassion at higher levels. Yes, animals do as well, but humans have compassion at higher levels, and we can achieve education much better than many our contestants, whatever you name it, because we are sharing this planet, and there is competition, So it's been almost 37 minutes. Like I said, so going back to Neanderthals, where did they go? So in this competition to live, to exist, did they go extinct, or are they still among us? We don't know. maybe I think they are still among us. It's just so. This is science. Science is not thinking like a concrete box. That if you find evidence, if if there's evidence, if it's a fact, then you have to change your way of thinking. You have to change the books. If you have written wrong, you have to change it. Just very, very simple. And throughout the history, we have managed to reach Renaissance, with the help of books, because going back to Sumeria, again, I'm gonna make a super connection here. The Sumerians invented the math and the writing system. The historians agree on this, because it's written on the tablets and everything. Because managing a city is not easy. You have to do taxation and rule the city. You have to do many calculations, including agriculture. You have to do all these math to construct all these buildings and water channels and etc. So there has been this accumulation of information and knowledge ever since, even from the Neanderthal era, through verbal traditions. Maybe they didn't know how to write, but they had a verbal tradition. Don't underestimate it. Memory, I took many seminars. Even deers, know their way around. Even donkeys, they can travel long distances without getting lost, because they have this skill called navigation. We have this thing called memory. It's just the deers do it. And the donkeys and horses, they are good at these things, navigation. And it requires memory. So to survive, you have to have good memory. Where is the food? Where is the water? Where is the danger? You have to know. Just keep track of all these things. So humans had these skills all along, and then and everything turned into a civilization, around like 5,000-6,000 years ago. They invented writing, and and civilization started with the first cities, Sumeria, and then later on, first empires came, and etc. But they started math, math and biology, biotechnology. First cheese, first beer. These are inventions. Cheese, beer, biotechnological inventions. These are like germinating seeds. We are still doing the same thing, developing better seeds, developing cheese, new cheese types. I have lived in America. Especially in Wisconsin, the license plates says in Dairyland of, America, and then Wisconsinites usually call themselves cheeseheads, and which I have no problem with. I am a cheesehead. I love cheese. I mean, the Parmesan and everything is. They contain very nutritional nootropics, cheese, and then tomatoes, and I'm not gonna go into GABA receptors that just I've been reading lately, but that is important as well. Because reaching quality food and quality protein will get you these beneficial amino acids. You have to have enough for winter, even during the diseases. You have to have good nutrition to survive. Imagine a leader in the tribe, surviving a disease, or a starvation, with proper food sources. So it's important. This knowledge, this culture, was there from the beginning. And then with time, with the advancement of certain folks in the area, it went back to Egyptians, and then Greeks came, and they took some of this, and then people learned with the trade and with the ships, and then this knowledge, the cultivation of wine, cultivation of olives, the wine cultures, and all the other, the peas and the lentils, and all these things. Most of them originated in Mesopotamia, and in the Fertile Crescent, they call it. It's just so this knowledge, either it is the knowledge of the heavens, and then the math, and or the physics, and observation of the sky. It doesn't matter. Most mathematics, it was recorded in tablets, and in rolls, and in other forms, and then it was translated to other languages. We know the Rosetta Stone. Egyptians, figured out, because the Phoenicians, and with the advancement of the modern alphabet, they just said, our writing system is dead. They understood it. It was a phonetic system, but so they invented the Rosetta Stone. For the visitors, or we don't know. Maybe as a diplomatic reason. they did that. They scribed the Rosetta Stone, so that their culture, can be understood. So information started in Mesopotamia, in Egypt, so Africans are not stupid, Iraqi people are not stupid, Iranians are not stupid, Arabs are not stupid. So first of all, I was against all along, this racist bullshit, it's just because it's like the start of all races. I mean, everything started in Africa. Are you an idiot? I'm sorry, if you're racist, you must be an idiot because, 99% of your genes came from Africa. How can you be a racist? How can you say, I belong to this race and what a glorious race and what a great race and we know everything? Bullshit. I mean, it's just, are you a chicken? I mean, with chickens and with the agriculture, people invented, different, animal types and cow types like Holstein and this and that and actually that ruined today's agricultural system. With all these meat-rich chickens and stocks and livestock and etc. We lost the native races. I mean, people switched to these, economic, get rich livestock, and we lost the native ones, which are resistant to diseases and everything. And then now we have this like avian flu. Oh, half of them are dead. Don't do this. And give us all your chickens. You're a national security problem. We are gonna kill all your chickens. Bullshit. You are spreading all the cheap races of animals around. Your cows. You sell your stupid cows, sell your stupid chickens, sell your stupid seeds, and then if they don't, and when they don't work, you cannot blame the villagers. That doesn't make sense. So like I said, back in the day, the governments were managing the seeds and the livestock. If the government is not good at managing seeds, what good is it for? I'm telling, what good is it for? If you cannot provide your people with healthy seeds and with healthy animals, what good are you? I'm talking generally, just because we should be all on the same page. Whether you are a, South American, Latino, North American, Asian, Chinese, Korean, I have no problem with people. No problem. As long as you act, is a dominant way. I wanna rule the world. I wanna rule this planet. Control. Use my seed. Use my animal. No, it doesn't work like that. So like I said, with the starvation and hunger and drought and climate crisis, we should work together. So you should train the youth together. There should be more programs that connects the youth to learn all these skills, to solve all these problems, to grow better mushrooms, to raise better animals, to make better gardens. I think I have said enough. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have many problems to solve, but we can overcome all these things, with a calm mind, if we can learn to stay calm, if we can detox ourselves, if we can, improve our, brain cells and feed and nourish them, and I think we can, manage better. And I'm not talking about the souls, this, the religious side of humans. I mean, it's just a whole different issue. whether there is God or not. It's about personally. I do believe in God, which helps me stay sane. You know, like I say, helps me stay sane, because I know that all these creatures. I know bears. Like there are wild animals out there. So I'm not blaming humans for being wild, because if you choose to be an animal, look, God created many wild animals. Let it be. If you choose to be a wild animal, God help you. What can I say? But if you choose to live this life as a human being, as a thinker, as a human being with compassion, and trying to live a beneficial life for both yourself and for others, you know God is going to help you. I think because all the religions, they ask you for one thing. First things first: cleanliness, cleaning, cleanliness of water, cleanliness of food. First things first. you know so detox first. It's important. There are many things to talk, but I think I have reached almost 52 minutes. 52 minutes. It is more than enough. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Young and mature, whoever is watching. Like I said, I am a retired teacher, researcher, just scientist, whatever you call it. I have, I try to live my life in a diverse way, I should say. So I've been to schools, I've been to labs, and I've been to business, and as a teacher, actually, which is this is necessary, so you know what it feels to be a merchant, what it feels to be a vendor, or a scientist, or a teacher, or educator, or a victim. You name it. You have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, to see how it feels, and that's called empathy. So okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is enough for today. Hopefully, like I said, I'm trying to improve my mushroom blocks, so that I can find the economic and feasible way to grow mushrooms locally, so that people can have some protein. Okay, I'm not saying meat, I'm saying protein. So choose your words wisely. People need, babies need protein. All living things need protein. Thank you very much. Love you. Bye bye.